Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Lennon, and I'm your executive leadership coach, speaker, trainer, and I am so excited to welcome you all to the Communicate to Lead virtual leadership conference. We have had many great guests that have come on this platform that I am so honored to be able to have. And so today we have another fantastic guest on today. And so I would like to welcome Miss Jeannie to the Communicate to Lead leadership conference. How are you?
I am great, Charlie. Thank you for having me. Excited to be part of this wonderful program that you are hosting, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Miss Jeannie, if you could please tell everybody who you are and then what you do within your organization or company.
Oh, absolutely. My name is Jeannie Kestner, and I am a faith fueled productivity coach. And I am a certified tiny habits behavior change coach. And I help women who are going through a transitional time in their life to kind of reclaim their identity and find their purpose again and help them blueprint a map to reach that purpose.
Now, that is a very specific niche, please. So, tell me what made you go into this space?
Um, I went into that space because that's my story.
No.
That is what I've experienced. So I know what these women are going through when they have that loss of identity, or they've lost their purpose, or they could be going through a divorce and they're not sure who they are anymore without having to that marriage in their life, or they could have changed careers. There's so many things that happen in our lives that can cause upheaval, and we are not these days prepared to deal with that in a positive way. So I help women stay, steered forward and not looking back at the past. Let's move forward. Let's be positive. Let's make something good come out of this transition.
Mhm. I love that. That makes me want to jump into some of these tougher conversation pieces that I would love to be able to talk to you about because you're dealing with sometimes such a sensitive subject area. So, how have you gone about having some of those tough conversations with these folks or even within your team? How do you do that?
Yeah, the most important thing is to listen, is to just really listen, because a lot of times we just want to be seen and heard. We feel like we're not being seen, we're not being heard, our feelings are not being accepted, or at least taken in by the other person or the other party. And just to be able to sit back and listen, sometimes that's the best thing we can do. um, a lot of times when we're in this transitional period of our lives, we are just as confused and conflicted with our own feelings and our own thoughts, because we've never like swam in that ocean before. And so we don't know what we don't know until we need to know it. So a lot of times it's just listening. I love to listen and try to pick up where their stressors are coming from. And then, once they're able to tell their story, sometimes just them expressing it out loud to someone that's actually listening, they can kind of navigate where they want to go from there. So it's not as hard as you might think it is if you just take the time to listen and appreciate their story and what they're trying to work through.
Absolutely. It's like the best communicators are the best listeners, and you wouldn't always think that. When you think of a communicator, we just kind of think of Chatty Cathy,
Right.
but Chatty Cathy, if she wants to be able to communicate effectively, then she has to be
Yeah,
willing to listen.
my
Yeah.
mom used to say, "Put on your listening ears. I'm about to tell you something important."
That's exactly what I do. I tell my son, "Put your ears on."
Yep.
And he said, "Oh." Yeah. The other day he said no, though. So anyway. I said, "Put your ears on." But yeah, exactly. No, I'm in that phase of life right now. He's through.
Oh, goodness.
But so with you managing and leading your own business with such a unique and specific field, how do you articulate your vision? Like how do you get others that are supporting you within your work how do you get them to be on the same page with you on what your vision is for your company?
It's most important inside your company to, again, listen, but it's also important to convey or communicate that vision with such clarity and such
Mhm.
enthusiasm, it brings them on board. Allow them to question you.
Mhm.
There's some bosses or CEOs or corporate people that are in the mindset that they want things their way no matter what. And they have themselves kind of limited themselves to how they can deal with their employees. To me, we're always a team. It's always a team. I do not have all the answers. There's always going to be situations that I am lost at too. So it's good to have a team that trusts you to take in their opinions. You may not go their way, but it opens up that conversation for debate. And I think now in society, we've lost our ability to debate. We have such strong emotional feelings that it's always, it's my way or no way. And that's not always the case. And as a leader, you have to understand that because you surround yourself with professionals to do jobs or positions or performance that one, you either lack the skill in, or two, it's the type of work that doesn't move the business vision forward, it just moves the daily to-do list forward. So when you're surrounding yourself with people that you're paying and you're giving them these responsibilities, you also have to respect that position in return. And it's like me, I have no clue with finance. So I have a finance person. I'm not going to argue if my finance person says, hey, we can't move this project along until some of these things happen. Who am I to say, I don't care, we're doing it anyway? When I don't have that expertise. So I need to trust what they're telling me. And when that's reciprocated, then they in turn trust you to lead them where you want to go in the company. But the bottom line is everybody has to have your vision. So you really have to be a champion for what you believe in and how you want the company to look and brand and move forward. But once you get a team together, it's really awesome that everybody kind of works together in that way.
That's absolutely correct. I liked when you were talking about that idea of making sure that people within your company have a voice. And you're right, we keep stifling ideas when we shut down a healthy debate. People will say, oh, stop arguing. No, debate is not arguing. Those are two different things. I used to be a debate coach, and so I'm real passionate about making sure I notate that. I'm like, we're not arguing, we're trying to arrive to an answer that's going to benefit us all.
Yes.
And so the only way to get to that is for us to have some healthy dialogue. And that means we have to be open to hearing things that are our ideas and our thoughts, because that's how we get to these great ideas, like companies like Google, who are having these diverse teams and really pushing the envelope. Well, how do we get to all of that? Because we were open to new ideas. And so I agree with you wholeheartedly with that is we've got to get out of that emotional attachment with how we feel about things.
Yes, because sometimes we get so emotionally attached to an outcome, we hinder that outcome.
Yes.
So you have to be open to the vision more than the line to get there. Because
Yeah.
and I know these memes have been going around, but you have point A and B, and you want a straight line, but that straight line looks like a roller coaster, and in and out looks like a tangled mess. But you get
Yes,
there. So
you
if you're
do.
not willing to travel that tangled mess to get there, you're gonna have a hard time.
That's right. And just figuring out, why is this not working? It may be a you problem. It may be a you problem.
Right. And when those come up, like if I notice that I have an employee struggling, the best thing to do is sit and say, okay, ask them questions. Why are you struggling?
Mm-hmm.
What is
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a today thing and not a forever thing. what's going on with you today? Is there something I can help you with? Do I need to support you? So it's not always something you have to take them to the office and work out. It could
Mhm.
just be a quick, touch on the forearm and say, hey, are you doing okay today? Is there something that's
Mhm.
going on that maybe you need to, take a minute and just regroup? We've lost our compassion for our employees, I think, in some areas, not everybody, but you really have to value your
Mhm.
employees.
Right. You do. You do. You can't value the outcome if you don't value the people that are helping you get there.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So when we're thinking about being a business owner and all of the experiences that you've had, it does come with a lot of decisions you have to make, and there's a lot of pressure. And then, like you said, you mentioned earlier about all the moving pieces with people that are in transition. How do you or what strategies have you used to be resilient during those times and being
Uh,
able to still, I know it's a hard one for all of us, but how do you find that time to really manage it all? People have moved away from saying work-life balance, but in terms of those concepts, what are some strategies that you've used or seen?
um, that's a very good question, and it's a loaded question. It's a heavy subject. Um, the resiliency really just comes, and I teach this like to my entrepreneurs. You would think that just having the idea for a business, you can't just go put a shingle on a wall or put a website up and say, "All right, I'm open, come see me." So you have to be one very tough in your mindset. I
Mhm.
mean, you have to be a tough cookie, and you have to not get pulled down by the rejections, but really elevated by the successes.
That's
Um,
right.
and the way that we do that, like when I have someone that comes to me and says, can I get some advice about, I want to start my own business. What do I do? And I'm like, well, the first thing you need to do is get clear on why you want to do your own business.
Mm.
Because if you don't have, and I borrow Dean Graziosi's exercise of the 7 layers deep. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I use this in my coaching to anyone that wants to start a business. And you have, or any goal really, especially if it's a huge goal, you have to go 7 layers deep into why you want to do that. Okay, so I would approach you and say, okay, why do you want to start a business? Well, because, I want to be available for my kids. Well, why do you want to be available for your kids? So you go through that 7 layers, and usually you get down to the core. Sometimes it goes all the way back to your childhood about why you want to do this, and you don't even realize it until you really start to dig down deep in your core, in your heart, in your head, to why you want to start this business. All right. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with money. It may start out with money, but a lot of times it's they want the freedom. They want the chance to be flexible and have family time and have that balance that we were talking about. All right, so that's great. So now you have your why. You have to get 110% emotionally attached to that why. For any change to happen, whether it's a habit you're trying to change, a goal you're trying to achieve, a business you're trying to do, a relationship you're trying to be in, you have to be so emotionally attached to that when those setbacks happen or those upheavals happen, you can take that and just kind of say, okay, thank you. I've learned a lesson, but I'm still very determined because I know this is what I want 7 layers deep. You are so invested in your vision that nothing can stop you, and you need that because you are going to have setbacks, you are going to have a problem employees, you are going to have financial ups and downs, especially if you're doing something new, in something that you're not familiar with or skilled in, or something you're being called to do and you're not really sure why you're being called to do that, but you're trusting that, okay, I hear you, and this is what I'm going to do. So that's where that resilience come from. It really just comes from you being so positively attached to your outcome that nothing can stop you. You're going to have setbacks, but you have a way to deal with that because you know why you're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is it right there, is being able to be so passionate about your vision that it helps you to be able to be resilient because you're like, no, I know I'm on the right track. I know I'm destined for this. That I have planned for this. And so I potentially have planned for this right here. I have planned for when it doesn't go the way I want to go, how I'm going to accept that and how I'm going to move forward so that I'm not stuck in that no. So, I have told people that just because you hear the word no doesn't mean it's a no to you or a no to your vision. We have to be able to separate our emotions from that word, because we hear no and we immediately think, oh, that's it. There's something wrong with me or my idea or my vision or something that is me, when it can have absolutely nothing to do with you.
Yes.
Nothing at all.
Exactly. When someone tells me no, I'll say, well, why is it a no?
Uh-huh.
Why is it a no? Help me. Okay, that's great. I understand you don't want my coaching, you don't want my product, you don't want me, but why? Let me understand so that I know how to move forward with someone else that tells me no. Or maybe it's a no because and it, like you said, it could have nothing to do with me. It could be that my whatever I'm offering doesn't fit their schedule, doesn't fit their budget, doesn't fit,
Right.
you know, the there's just so many reasons that have nothing to do with us. It
Mm-hmm.
could be their fear. I mean, their initial no could just be because they're afraid of change.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to take that step. So it's up to me, I feel, to understand why their no is, and not
Right.
get upset that they've told me no. I'm like, oh, I understand, totally understand. But could you tell me why it's a no so that
Mm-hmm.
I can better my offer or I can restructure how we're having this conversation with the next person? Because
Absolutely.
if they don't feel like you're attacking them, what do you mean no? Then they're a little bit more relaxed and you can really get to those underlying uh, barriers that they may have.
Absolutely. And that's how we grow. And people are never offended by, hey, I would like to grow. I want to do better. Can I pick your brain so that I can improve myself? Most people, if they hear that, they're not like, nope, I don't want to help you.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
most
really?
people don't. I would say 99% people won't um,
No.
to tell you. It's like, oh, yeah, well, and they'll come up with why they said no. And then you just kind of dig. It's almost like you're digging into their 7 layers without them knowing that you are.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, if we could, I know it is so hard, but I'm going to ask you if you could come up with one final thought. So, one piece of advice that you would give someone who is in a leadership role or a business owner like yourself, or even an emerging entrepreneur, what is that one piece of advice that you could give them for us to close out our conversation today?
Oh, absolutely. Again, it just goes back to understanding why you want to do what you want to do and be so emotionally connected to that it guides you.
Mhm.
And that's for yourself if you're wanting to start a business. Now, if you're just in a leadership role and it's not your business, but you have a team, I would say to listen, be empathetic, understand your employees on a level that maybe you're not buddy buddy and friends and going out for drinks for the weekend, but understand their lives because, like I said earlier, people want to be seen and heard. So just see and hear everybody that you come in contact with, and watch the conversations unfold. Watch the attitudes change, and watch the respect grow reciprocally. And that would be my biggest advice is listen and feel.
Ab- Listen and feel. And I'm telling you, I feel like in this conversation, that's how I have felt with your energy. It's just that just a very calm spirit and just listen and feel, I think sums up who my impression of you is. So I
Yes,
think
thank you.
that we can all do a better job of listening and feeling. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the Communicate to Lead Leadership
Thank you.
Conference. I
Thank you.
appreciate your time. I hope that people have learned something and can take something away from this conversation. And if they want to engage with you more, can you tell everybody how can they connect with you?
Okay, they can connect with me through coachjeannielynn.com. I'm there. Or if they want to set a chat, I have a free sessions that I just sit and chat with people and kind of feel where they're at. And that's a bit.ly link. That's the bit.ly/chat with Jeannie.
Perfect. Chat with Jeannie. I have a podcast called Chat with Charlie. That's fun. Look,
Yeah.
thank you again for being here, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Y'all have a great day and enjoy the conference.